Hey, this is me building a $3 million a year business in public. The way these videos go is I always start with a little bit of Q&A to offer value right off the bat. Then I do some growth stats, show you guys what my brand growth looks like over 24 hours, just so you guys know, and then live strategy as well. Today we'll probably do some make.com stuff. This is my main channel at 118K subs, and then this is my daily updates channel. I've scrolled all the way down to the bottom, just gonna answer Tommy's question. So speaking of questions, what's the best way to lose stubborn belly fat and face fat? I know we can't spot reduce, and I work out almost every day, but man, that belly fat does not want to leave, and my face also seems to get fat as well. Curious to know how you tone down the body and what sort of food you eat daily. I'll be honest, I consume sugar every day through coffee. It's been mad difficult to stop it, although I always make sure I'm never consuming more than 35 grams per day. Well, let me be abundantly clear here. I'm definitely not a bodybuilding channel, and I don't really think I'm the most qualified person to talk how to spot reduce face and belly fat, because I feel like I have a little bit of face and belly fat myself. I'm not the bodybuilder guy on here. I'm a make.com and then an automation guy. But in the spirit of my channel, I'll try and answer the question to the best of my ability. How do you lose stubborn belly fat and face fat? Sounds like you already know, man. You can't spot reduce. No spot reduction. That has not really been proven. There's very little empirical backing for that. So some people just happen to pack on more mass around their waistline, and others pack more mass around their face. You just sort of just have to come to terms with that. You know, if you are sort of person with a more like rounder ovular face like me, the strategy to make your face seem less round is just to like make the rest of your head kind of stack up. So I usually wear like higher hair just because, you know, visually speaking, it makes my face look like a smaller portion of the head, right? Yeah, you know, there's some techniques that you can do to help with that don't actually meaningfully reduce the fat. But yeah, aside from just lowering body fat percentage, man, that's about it. In terms of what I eat, I'll be real. Today I had like pretty trash food. I definitely have more than 35 grams a day of sugar. So not the role model here, to be clear. I try and be conscious of the food that I put in my body, and I try to prioritize whole foods, but I am not always great with that. So health is certainly something that I'm focusing on here. I appreciate you asking me that question though, Tommy. Tyron Law says, hey Nick, love the idea of going for uniqueness through content on the main channel. What many educational channels do when they plateau is they pivot from educational to more of these challenges and experience videos like I did X and Y. And those videos are more likely to attract the average viewers as well as the more hardcore viewer. Shameless plug. Are you guys looking for anyone to help out with some strategy or any kind of YouTuber content stuff? Do you have a website where I could apply by any chance? Not sure how working with a LeBlanc maybe. I can try it. That's pretty funny. Again, I'm being called out for my League of Legends experience. So no, not at the moment, Tyron. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But right now, I'll chock full of strategy, I would say. I have more outlines than I know what to do with. So no website where you could apply at the moment. But when I do end up looking for help, I always start here. Because if you think about it, you guys know my content the best. And you'd probably be the most apt to help with that. Barton says, bros, an encyclopedia. Thank you very much. Great idea to build a business live. Already excited to see how it goes. Thank you. Nate Herkwood, come close to being the Hormozy of AI automation. You two are definitely the two giants I pay attention to. Thank you. So now we have to compete with our mentor. Being in Maker School means the end. I'm very clear on the benefit of joining a soon to be $200 a month course, since I'll be giving a lot away for free, but I'm excited to see the new direction. Thank you. How is your Instagram affecting your business or YouTube channels? You build huge lists through comment to get. How do you use that then? Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I just hired somebody on to help me with newsletter stuff. So they're going to be whipping up a big newsletter sequence. I already have a newsletter, but it's not very good. I think the monetizability of that's pretty crazy. I probably have like 30,000 people on an email list that I need to get. Monkey says, I'm excited to see the new bids. Thank you. Alexander says, after sending an initial proposal on a cold email campaign starting our project, how do we maintain momentum with that client? Do we keep sending new proposals for every follow-up opportunity, or should we establish a more streamlined process for ongoing collaboration and upselling? Yes, for sure. You should attempt to get a client on some sort of retainer or monthly recurring subscription, as opposed to you sending new proposals every time you have a follow-up opportunity. You just bundle this within the constraints of the retainer or subscription. You say, I will deliver you X systems in Y amount of time, per month. In addition, I'll give you a weekly strategy call. I'll give you daily Slack availability between 12 and 2 p.m. PT. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. And then, or alternatively, you could charge hours too. A lot of people do that. But the point I'm trying to make is this: significantly minimizes friction every time a new project comes about. And then if you want to have some sort of legal agreement or arrangement, then you specify the terms of that in your document. And so that might be like intellectual property stuff. That might be reasonable expectations surrounding delivery. That could be an unsolicitation clause, some sort of NDA. The idea is you just want to minimize friction on the follow-up projects by not forcing you and the client to both sign some big, religiously long piece of paperwork again, okay? Study Motivation 6838, what's going on, says, I have a deal offer for an asset-based outreach system. Previous warm lead wants to do it with me, but they're willing to do it on commission. Now, I don't have enough budget to set up the campaign and the system. How should I approach this? Considering I have a good result from an asset-based outreach system I did for myself, how should I approach it? Great question. I generally speaking do not like to take on excuse me. Jesus. I just had some pretty spicy noodles. I feel like I just choked a little bit on it. How should we do this? I don't personally like taking on really 100% commission-based deals at the beginning of my career. I also don't like taking on commission-based deals where I have to front or shoulder the burden of the ongoing liability myself. And I very rarely recommend that to people unless they're in a very particular nuanced situation that I'm not going to get into. So in your case, I don't recommend you take on a commission-only deal. Commission-only deals usually align incentives the wrong way. You only get paid when the client closes the deal. Their ability to close a deal that you generate is completely outside of your control. So you're basically, you are picking up your balls and you're putting them on the chopping block and you're giving them the machete and they can chop them off at any time. Sorry for that visual analogy, but how should you approach this? You should offer to do it for them on commission or something, assuming that they pay the liability, assuming that they pay the ongoing monthly expense, which you can get down to about $100 a month or so if you're smart. This will eliminate all of the downside and only give you upside. And then you can be, you'll still be motivated to deliver them value because you're on commission, but you're not going to have like that slowly increasing or creeping up monthly costs that a lot of other people in Maker School that didn't listen to this advice have. So that's what I would do. Broxton says, can't wait to see your sales content. They'll be replicable across almost any industry where you're doing sales. Thank you. Omar says, Nick, I want to know all the details of how to work with and service a client after closing them, but also details on my proposal for them and also who creates an instantly account, for example, and other software tools, and also the pricing and the money transfers. Okay, so that's a lot, man. I'm more than happy to help you with that, but I have recorded videos on all of this before. So how to service a client after closing. I'm just going to direct you to how to manage an automation project, Nick Saraev. There's a video right over here. And then there's another one right over here, my step-by-step automation agency delivery process. Give both of those a look through. They will solve all of those problems. Who creates an instantly account, for example? The idea is you help the client create an instantly account for themselves and you get them to do it using your affiliate link. Instantly is a great example of like, insane affiliate upside, by the way. It's 30 to 40%, at least mine is. I think I make like $4,000 or $5,000 a month just off of Instantly right now. Not comparable because I'm running an info product, but still it's like a percentage or two. It's between 2 to 4% on average margin that you will just add back to your business. Very few things is clear cut an advantage is that in the agency space. Pricing and money transfers. Money transfers, I do Stripe. If you generated them on Upwork, just use Upwork. Upwork will charge you about 10% on average, between 5 to 15. But 3% of that is just like the payment processing fee that you would have paid to Stripe or some other service anyway. So think about it, 10% minus 3% means the actual fee you're giving to Upwork is 7% in order to help you generate the lead. And then also in order to like manage comms and then give you escrow capability and stuff like that. That's more than worth it. 7% is a very little amount of money to pay for all of that functionality. So Upwork's fine. Plus you're building a piece of digital real estate, which is valuable. Then in terms of pricing, check out this. So first of all, go over here and then tell them that it's 100% worth the time and the money and that you should definitely join. Second of all, the 7-figure AI agency pricing strategy that actually works. This will help you for sure. It'll answer all those questions, okay? Citing motivation says, adding your previous comment, when selling lead generation systems, so you write the copy as well or just one leave at system? No, I write the copy, yeah. I write the copy, I actually manage it for them as well. I'd recommend you just do like a totally packaged containerized service for them. Russabus says, oh my God, I'm so effing stoked about the new path forward. Excellent choice, man. Really excited to see the journey while making the most of Maker School. Thank you. Supa says, in your experience, what are the most common CRM platforms that small biz clients use? Yeah, I think I answered this question before, but just to be clear, small business clients like are a massive umbrella. We could be talking local service businesses like, we could be talking retail stores. We could be talking like a flower shop. We could be talking like HVAC. We could be talking any sort of small business, like a digital marketing company. So the specific CRM that you're going to use is going to depend on which vertical you're in for sure. Small business is not really a vertical, like it's not really an industry. It's like a subtype or something, a grouping. But yeah, like my most common one that I usually see is ClickUp. And oh my God, is my skin tone different between these two? That's really funny. So I would probably say ClickUp, Trello, Asana, Basecamp for some organizations. Enterprise ones are more drawn to Salesforce, HubSpot. Yeah, that's about it. And then like if you're a plumber, there's plumber CRMs. If you're a real estate agent, they're real estate CRMs. So depends on the specifics of your company. Definitely just type like name of business vertical plus the word CRM and then just see like the top 3 results and just verify those 3 first before you move on because maybe you're thinking about a very specific type of small business that I'm not considering. Whisper says, I'm from Sri Lanka. I don't think the payment process requires working for school. Yeah, I know some countries aren't. I'm not expecting much, just 10 or 15 minutes to pitch my idea. I just want to cover the cost of my email outreach. So I prefer to stay below offer rather than a fluctuating high offer. If you're not interested in this, what you is thoughts on hiring someone for your main channel team, check out the latest 43 minutes compilations video published as a demo. And you can even run this through your main channel and see how it performs. Interesting. Did you create a video for me? I'm not seeing it. Where can I find this? Is it Nick Saraev Daily Compilations or something? This guy made a channel for me, but I don't know where it is. Could I go people? Could I go like Nick Saraev site, youtube.com, Nick Saraev channel? Yeah, shit, man. I don't remember what it was, to be honest. I'm sorry, my brother. Anyway, I know you made a channel for me. I'd like to take a peek at it. I'm just not seeing it right now. Maybe add on a comment or something like that with a link to the specific channel. I'll take a peek. Ursal says, hey, Nick, what makes a lead gen cold email system fruitful in result delivery? How to present that and stand out from all those who do email and lead gen? Is there any areas that could be optimized or improved? Simply what makes a lead gen cold email system valuable technically and also business-wise? Thanks for the value. The most valuable part of a lead gen system is kind of like, there are a couple things. So it's the scale, to make a long story short. Like back in the day, I used to have to go door knocking and, in order to talk to one person, I would have to go and walk up to the business, and then I would have to knock on the door or open the door, walk in, deliver a pitch, and then they would accept or reject me. And that would take me like a minute and a half or something, 2 minutes just to do the pitch, not to mention the travel time to and from and stuff like that. So realistically, I could actually only get maybe like, between 50 to 80 businesses net in a day when you take into account the travel time. And then, we had to break for lunch and we had to do all that stuff. So with cold email, you could send 1,000 emails in a single day. In the same amount of time it takes to write one email campaign, because once you write one email campaign, it just immediately, it multiplies the leverage, right? You can send it to 1 million people. So whereas what I was doing before scaled technically like this, where if this is time, and then if this is results, before I was kind of going up like this. One unit for 1 unit. It's linear, basically, is what I'm trying to say, okay? Cold email kind of scales like this. You typically have a fair amount of time initially, and then your results go like this. So hopefully I'm making it clear, but the slope of the line, which is just the rise over the run, is a lot steeper over here in cold email, meaning that after you put that initial startup work in, eventually you far surpass the equivalent points of leverage versus doing something yourself. This teal line is equivalent to like Loom videos, for instance. The slope of the line is a little better than cold calling for Loom videos, but it is what it is. Upwork applications, it's manual DMs. So when you systematize and productize service, and then you offer it to people, like with the cold email stuff, and you package it in the right way, like you can add a little bit of time and then see massive results from it. So if you combine that with AI's ability to personalize outreach and then make it seem from the customer perspective that you are talking just to them and nobody else, then you get to combine the two. And then, the amount of time you have to spend might be a little bit more, but then the slope of the line is basically vertical, aside from just daily management stuff. Tech to Jazz says, day 3 of asking Nick which camera and light setup he uses. I don't have a light. Unfortunately, the camera right now is just the MacBook Pro. Sorry, my brother. DS Jeremy says, hey, Nick, I applied the advice you gave me last time, and guess what? Landed clients. So thank you so much. Thank you, man. Great work. You landed the clients yourself. Super stoked that I could at least point you in the right direction. There's naturally leading to new questions. I realize that's a long message. Apologies. You recommend never stop lead gen, and I agree. But what would you do if you can handle less clients than leads you have? I feel bad about saying no to clients if I had previously applied. I love your insight about business, and I'd like to learn more about it. I read the Personal MBA, Lean Startup, on Mosey's books. What else do you recommend? Check out The Goal by Eli Goldratt. Finally, what is your advice for follow-up projects outside of Upwork? Would you do it or not? I like Upwork because it handles a lot of paperwork for me, for instance. As always, thanks so much for the value you provide. To answer this last question, it does depend on the size of your profile. If your profile is pretty small, then definitely lean towards doing everything on Upwork and following it to a T. Note that there's no risk because you're not breaching terms of service. If you are doing it outside of Upwork, there's going to be some sort of risk. The risk to reward probably doesn't make sense until you have like $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 in earnings on your profile, okay? And yeah, as you mentioned, it handles the paperwork, it handles the escrow, it handles everything for about 3% plus the connect cost. Now, to answer the big question here, what would you do if you can handle fewer clients than leads you have? You feel bad about saying no to clients if you had previously applied. Stop feeling bad. This is just how business works. Don't feel bad about this at all. This is just a game. It's not, it's not that there is no morality in business, but like what, they get excited and they want to work with you. And then you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm actually really bottlenecked right now. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to say, well, I still want to work with you. So how do we make it work? And then you can charge more money. Like, this is just how it works. You over apply to opportunities so that your opportunity pool is as big as possible. And then you, because you spent that extra time and energy and money, now have the ability to pick and choose the deals that matter to you. So don't feel bad about it. This is the optimal strategy, and this is what you must do. Nick, how did you become so well-spoken? I just talked a lot. Wish I could give you a very well-spoken answer, but that's that. Study Motivation says, what's the best niche in your opinion to sell? LinkedIn DMs, email outreach, lead gen systems too. LinkedIn DMs and email outreach systems, probably recruitment agencies right now, because they just natively operate off of LinkedIn, and then email outreach, lead gen systems just naturally feed into both candidate sourcing and then employer sourcing systems. So Tech Mogul over here is right insofar that digital marketing agencies, coaches, consultants, service providers, et cetera, all of these work, but probably the most specific high ROI one there is the recruitment agency. Irene says, hey Nick, I've never missed a single video of yours till now. I'd love to continue to support you always, no matter when you're going up or down with your approach. Just for video show, if you need help with aromatherapy, you helped me start my new AI automation agency from scratch. I'd like to return the favor by offering consults, and I can balance your work and life with adding a few drops of wonders, essential oils and herbs to your daily routine. At least as this is what I could do the best for you as per expertise in this area. I wish I could offer some technical, but you're already a genius in this. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Should I need this, I will absolutely reach out. Streepy says, how do I integrate the Instantly API into my N8N workflow? Seriously, like, thank you for this. I'm not big on essential oils. I don't really know how these work or what they really refer to, but I know that the times that I've gone over to my ex-girlfriend's houses and they've had some sort of diffuser in the air that's blowing some cool, wonderful essential oils around the place, I've always felt awesome. How do I integrate the Instantly API to my N8N workflow? I want the leads Google Sheet uploaded to Instantly. How do I do that? They just released a new API, give the new docs a read. I tried, man, but I couldn't find a way to directly load the Google Sheet from workflow to a campaign. What you have to do, my man, is you have to do this. Let me show you right now. Nope, that's not it. That's it. It's much easier in make.com, just a heads up, but that's okay. I'll show you how to do it here anyway. So you open up an N8N scenario, an N8N workflow, I should say, and then you want to go Google Sheets. And then what you need to do is under actions, you have to go get rows in sheet. What you have to do is this sheet has to be all of your leads. So you have to make a connection, of course, if you haven't done that already, but this has to be the thing of leads. Now, what's going to happen is every time somebody fills one of the, every time that, you run this, what you're going to do is you're going to return a giant list of people here. Every one of these items, okay, is then going to have to be manually, or at least this is how I would do it personally. It'll just make your life a lot easier. You don't have to do it this way, but this is what I would do. For every item, you would then add an HTTP request directly to the Instantly API. So now I'm just going to go on the Instantly API. What you probably want is you probably just want a lead, and then you would create a lead using this endpoint here, and you would copy this into the N8N workflow. And this will have a section here under authorization called bury your token here that you will have to get from your Instantly account. Underneath that, check to see the fields that you'd be feeding in. It looks like the only fields that you need to feed in are probably going to be campaign. Let me see if there's an example here. Excuse me. Doesn't look like it, no. You're probably going to have to feed in the campaign ID that you're adding the lead to. So it'll be this. And then after that, you're going to have to, sorry, not campaign A, just campaign. After that, you're going to do email. Then you're going to do first name. And you're also going to do last name. Okay, so I think this is probably all you're going to have to do. These are the 4 fields. And then what I personally like doing is I always format them just because it makes it a little bit easier to see. And then just map the variables. So campaign is probably going to be hard-coded, actually. Email would probably be mapped from your sheet. First name would be mapped from your sheet. Last name would be mapped from your sheet. You may have other variables here like personalization, et cetera. Maybe website, I don't know. So that's how you do it, okay? Tikale says, Nick, I got one more thing to say. If you ever stop making posts like these, I do need to get in touch with you personally. You seem so chill and cool at the same time. You're also so open and honest. That's insane. I'm just very thankful I need someone like you in my life. No homo. Love you, dude. Hope to get some big numbers to get in an interview with you. Haha. Get some big numbers, and I'm more than happy to get you on a call, my man. Thank you very much, Tikale. I really appreciate it. Aiden says, just wanted to say I really appreciate your work. Pushed me to finally build my own automated outreach system. I'd run a few manual ones before. This one pushed me to go all in. Hell yeah. I'm gathered around 2,000 qualified emails of VCs and private equity firms. My current approach is to personalize with a quick email icebreaker and a custom Instagram, YouTube content strategy, plus a video script with animation annotations based on blogs and sites or podcast pages from their sites. But I've hit a bottleneck with costs. Scraping tools like Firecrawl get expensive fast. Checking some APIs that seem cost effective. And further, feeding all that into Cloud or GPT-4 for deep parsing is also adding up. Could you shed some light on how to approach the cost stack or workflow for this at scale? Would really appreciate any guidance. So to be clear, I don't think GPT-4 for deep parsing is really going to matter all that much. Depends on how many tokens you're feeding into this, but GPT-4 costs should be very minimal. If I just go down to model pricing OpenAI, and then we check this link, and we look into the costs, you'll see that GPT-4 4.1 mini is 40 cents per million tokens of input, and input's probably the main thing here that you're going to be looking for, right? So maybe if you do a blended, it'd be like 0.5 per million tokens. Well, a million tokens is about 700,000 words. So how many words is a single one of these web pages? If you're doing some markdown script, it might be like 1,000 or something, right? So 1,000, 700,000, that's 700 leads, presumably for like 50 cents. So I don't know how big your total addressable market is or what your volume is, but this does not seem like a limiting factor to me. Probably the more limiting factor is Firecrawl. So let's check Firecrawl pricing really quickly. Firecrawl pricing is standard. Let's just bill everything monthly. 3,000 credits, 3,000 pages. This one seems significantly more cost constraining. Things scale up quite a bit. So 99 bucks a month for 100,000 pages versus 19 bucks a month for 3,000. This is 30 times the volume at 5 times the price. So this is 6 times more cost efficient. So assuming you go with this, you'll be good. I mean, you can go with this if you want, but this is the one probably. You'll be able to scrape, what's that? 1,000 pages for $1. So 1,000 pages for $1. And then what did we say? 700 pages for 50 cents. So if I just multiply 1 by 0.7 is 1.4. So 1.4 times 0.5. Yeah, it's 0.7. So 70 cents for 1,000 pages plus $1. That's $1.70 per 1,000. Okay, so $1.70 per 1,000 pages that you're going to be scraping, basically using this combined workflow. I got to be honest, man, that seems like it scales. 2,000 qualified emails is very little. Now, obviously, I might be missing something, and I know what you guys have probably already been thinking. Hey, Nick, they might be scraping significantly more than just 1 page per search, and maybe they're scraping 5. But that's still, the only thing it does is it just adjusts the slope of the cost line up a little bit. It doesn't actually like meaningfully change it. So yeah, cost stack or workflow, man, just make sure you're using the right model, and then make sure that you're using the right pricing plan. I'll be real. That's really the main thing. I don't think this is very pricey at all. And if you're doing 2,000 and you're unwilling to spend, I don't know, let's say like $30 or whatever to do this super crazy custom stack, you're probably not being realistic with costs. And realistically, the cost is probably closer to $3, right? I'm Shortsy says, hey Nick, hope you're well. Congrats on 100K. Thank you. I got 3 questions, not 1. Hell yeah. In a recent video, I looked at Pandadoc to see whether possible pricing or API usage changed, but you weren't sure if they did or not. Do you manage to confirm if you now need to go with the enterprise version to be able to automate proposal generation? Yes, I'm sure you don't need the enterprise version, which is nice. You only need higher plans if you were doing API calls, but in our case, we're not using API calls. We're actually using integrations built in like a make.com node. When setting up new accounts for software setting up, for the client, is there any reason you wouldn't create a fresh Gmail that you both have access to? This prevents them from giving you access to their accounts, prevents 2FA from being an issue. Yeah, the only reason is if they want you to send or manage emails on their behalf, which a lot of the time they do. To be pragmatic, I would just use theirs. Now, there are some 2-factor authentication issues, but this just is how I handle like emails coming from their mailbox, which a lot of the time they want. What's that to-do list app you use on your Mac? It's called Godspeed. Yeah, Godspeed, really cool note taker, which just allows you to move around entirely using hotkeys. So you're not actually supposed to use the mouse. You're supposed to, command down, command P, command L, and then just do stuff. Then it has date pickers, repeating tasks, a bunch of like encryption stuff, which is important for me. Charlene says, you're amazing. The value provided is unmatched. Thank you. Thank you. Drew Coleman Marketing says, made a video and document for you. Send it to all your emails from Drew on 5/22/25. Hope it helps. Keep it up, Nick. Thank you very much, Drew Coleman Marketing. I really like the, is that a beret? Damn, that's fresh. Nice look, man. Hire a cybersecurity professional. Says, dying of boredom is real. We got the Demon Slayer profile pic. Thank you. Commenting because we need you. Replying because I need you. My Facebook account got hacked. They totally hijacked it. Meta will not help me get it back. Kind of sucks, but yeah. Motivated, this is the same thing happened to me. I lost it for a year and a half. I joined a subreddit of people who got their Meta accounts hacked and tried a few tactics right after it got hacked. I think it took that long for Meta to address my complaint. That might work for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. I will say things change at scale. When you are a little bit bigger, then they basically like increase the security in your account. And so you have more verification methods. Kind of sucks. I've had my accounts banned and hacked as well when I was smaller. And then I basically had no recourse. But this time I had recourse because you're big enough. Portuguese Sardine says, regarding the more money from less stuff, that's actually normal though not normal to do. Most people figure do more, higher perceived value got put in the time, but the actual leverage is in being harder to get to. You have your backlog of content, the community to answer questions, the group, people have a higher perceived value of the guide, and he's at the top of the Mount Doom versus sitting on the foothills and always available. Interesting. I'll consider this. Thank you. I probably naturally apply this to stuff like Make Money with Make and Maker School, my communities, because I don't actually have the time to answer all of the questions. So there's probably some leverage that I'm building just in terms of perceived exclusivity there. But also, I understand that like this is technically more effective, psychologically speaking, but I think I've built my brand on just like actually helping people. And if it takes me working a little bit harder to help all the people that I said I was going to help, and if I don't make necessarily as much money, I think that that's worth the trade-off for me. Because maybe like the long tail, like the really far in the future benefits of me just doing this will outweigh the short-term benefits of me being a little harder to reach. I do like the whole Burberry, super exclusive Nordstrom clothing model where you sell stuff for $1,000 a piece and you have like a line of people waiting to get in and they really want, whatever you're selling. But I think I like just like offering value more. Win says, hey, Nick, I'm 16 years old and I'm looking to get started doing automation. So my question is, should I worry about getting a business email and I already have an email? You should. Yeah, definitely get a business email. It's a lot easier. If you feel diving deeper into this question, how can I make one for my automation business and how many should I have realistically? Also, I love your workflows and end-to-end. You're inspiring me. Well, great work getting up and running at 16 years old, Win. If I had half the gumption you had at double your age, I would be 4 times further. Just screwing around. The simplest way to do so is just head over to Workspace, workplace.google.com, workspace.google.com, my bad. Click Get Started, and then just make one business email. Once you're done making that email, go down to the pricing page and change from business standard to business starter. It should save you $16 a month, and you should only be paying $7 a month at the end of it. That is the simplest and most straightforward way. And don't worry about making more mailboxes until later. You should have more mailboxes later when you're doing cold email and stuff if you want to really crush it with this business model, but you don't need to now. CEO says, it says your WAP isn't available right now. What can I do? Depends on what you are trying to do. I have 2 WAPs now. The first is create a reward called Nick Saraev Standard, where we have people submitting clips. Let me actually take a peek at how many clips have been submitted in the last little bit. So what they do is they clip my content and then they make videos like this and then they publish them. This guy here is really cool. Tony, he's been crushing it. He's been doing like some good some good edits, good music, publishing a lot of videos with me, and he's being paid out basically. I mean, so far it's like $5 for that video, $4 for that video, $4 for that video, $3.50 for that video. So that's the main one. If you want to join the premium community where you get paid $2.50 per 1,000 views instead of $1.50 like the other one, plus you get affiliate access, then check out Nick Saraev Clips Premium. You do need 50,000 views on my smaller community in order to be eligible for the larger one. Ryan Lucas Duncan says, bro, just breaking all school limiting beliefs. Effing insane. Honestly, thank you, Ryan. For anybody that doesn't know, Ryan released a very popular video about a month ago called Iman Gadzhi is lying to you. Don't waste your money. And another follow on there where he talked about how he met Iman Gadzhi, or he had a story with him or something along those lines. And he blew the hell up. I think he got like 5,000 subs or something. I mean, I'm just throwing words around here. I don't know if this is true, Ryan. If you're watching this, please correct me. But I think he got like 5,000 subs in a few days, which is pretty crazy. And probably more importantly, he runs a community called Free that specifically helps with fixing your free to paid flow and unlocking 5 to 20K a month without new traffic for inbound funnels. That's him with, hopefully you guys know Alex Hormozy over here. I don't know who that is. And then there's Sam Ovens. He's big in with the school team and he is very active on their community. So he's like a big community guy, So yeah, thank you for that, Ryan. I really appreciate you, my bro. And yeah, I think I am breaking the limiting beliefs, right? I mean, I'm doing it all with just me now. So I literally run the whole thing entirely on my own. That's kind of cool. Clark says, oh yeah, commenting because we need you. It's like the, oh yeah. It's like this. What the hell's that drink called? I've already forgotten. Hey, Nick, love the value give, really solid by Kevin. Says, I'm currently building an agency focused on generating qualified leads for private equity firms using private equity firms. You're generating leads for private equity firms using private equity firms. Brilliant. Using meta ads or cold email campaigns and AI voice agents to pre-qualify and book meetings. If you were in my shoes, how would you approach lead gen and structuring the offer, etc.? Curious to hear your take on it. You want to generate qualified leads for private equity firms who typically do millions of dollars in deal size. And you want to do it using AI voice agents to pre-qualify and book meetings. I think that this is really silly. I wouldn't do this myself. Think about the average order value, or think about the average deal size manifested from like a good interaction. The cost of a salesperson or somebody on the front end to manage that interaction is so low relative to the total average order value that me giving this to a voice agent to like screw up probably 40% of the time seems really silly, Kevin. I wouldn't do this, my man. Let me run you through my logic. Let me show you what I mean. And then, if you think I'm full of shit, then that's fine. But the only business where it actually makes sense to do stuff like this are businesses that need to be available and omnipresent, because if they're not, then they'll lose the lead. A private equity firm is not like that. A private equity firm, realistically, when somebody wants to work with a PE firm or whatever, whether the PE firm reaches out or whether the person finds a path to the PE firm of their own volition, they're willing to wait a little bit. They don't need a response immediately right that day. I mean, we're talking like, as I mentioned, multi-million dollar deal sizes here, whether it's in acquisitions or staking percentage of the company or something. So think about it this way. Let's say the average private equity deal or something ends up resulting in something like $1 million, okay? And let's say that, you, human, has some sort of CVR equivalent of, let's say, like 10% or something. So what that means is every time that you have some opportunity, you take $1 million and you multiply it by 10%, and then you get the estimated value of that deal, which is $100K. So basically, every time a deal crosses your desk by a human being speaking to them, that company, the private equity firm or whatever, has made $100,000, okay? Now, let's say hypothetically that this is the human angle right over here. Let's say instead you replace all those with a voice agent. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to save so much money. I'm not going to have to worry about, hiring somebody to help me take the inquiries or run through the pipeline or whatever. Well, how much money is a voice agent really going to save you versus how much decreased conversion rate is that voice agent going to result in? Voice agents aren't going to increase your conversion rate. Let's be clear. They're not at the point yet where a human being can't reasonably pick it up after like 30 seconds of talking to them. We will eventually find out. And so, I mean, if the conversion rate drops even 3%, okay, from 10% to 7%, you just decrease the estimated value or expected value of every call by $30,000. Let's say you get a call a day, you're now losing an expected value of $900,000 a month. What's your upside for the $900K? Oh, you replaced $6,000 person to like do the qualification. So, I mean, like, just what's the delta here, man? It's $894,000 lost. I don't know, man. I don't, unless I'm fully misunderstanding something, I wouldn't do this at all. I would totally switch. I don't think this is valuable. Sorry. Just want to give you guys my unadulterated opinions here. And I don't mean to burst any bubbles, but I think that's why people like asking questions to me, because I'll just give it to you straight. Hey, Nick, are there any automations I can sell to accountants? I'm finding it hard to figure out. For sure. Lots of, well, maybe not accountants, but like bookkeeping automations. You could do like some automated tax filing stuff for sure. You could automated data extraction from invoices, receipts. You could do things like set up simple SOPs where every time that they do something that you need for accounting purposes, they like send an email or they send a text to a number. And then at the end of the year, right before the tax filing, you just iterate through all of that, aggregate that, feed that into some AI model and have that tell you something about it. Those are some really simple ones. Obviously, you could do CRMs, project management systems, resource planning systems for accountants and their clients. You could do a million things. Techale says, watching your daily upload videos is the first thing I do when I wake up. From our time, you upload your videos very early in the morning. So next to my morning routine, it's normal to look and listen to your posts. Please don't stop. Thank you. Hey, Nick, when you were selling growth systems like lead gen, were you writing the email copy for the client or would you just create the system personalization and deliver that? I'd write the email copy for the client, also manage their responses. Hey, dude, really important, unrelated, but super important. I'm having serious issues parsing JSON from ChatGPT to Pandadoc. I tried validation error tools. It said an error on line 1 with open bracket. Then when I fixed the error, I got an error on line 3. I don't understand. How can I change the GPT output to correct this? I use the prompts from your video. Interesting. Parsing JSON from ChatGPT to Pandadoc. You're probably outputting the JSON exactly because what you're doing. I wouldn't do that. I would use, depends on what are you doing? Are you using make.com or are you using N8N? Okay, let's just pretend make.com. You have a Sorry. You have a module here called the create a completion module. If you click show advanced settings, and then if I select a model, down at the very bottom of this, it'll pop up in a second, trust me. There's a section here called response format text. So just swap that to JSON object, parse the JSON response, and you will actually have the whole object available for you. So let's just say generate me JSON of this comment, and then I just feed in your comment right over here. Check this out. I run this now. It's going to parse that. Notice what it just turned it into. It turned it into a result collection, and it, gave me some bullshit. Author, posted, comment, whatever. I wonder if it'll do the same the next time. Anyway, once you do this, what you could do is you could do a set a variable module. Then this is my transformed or maybe stringified JSON, let's say. There's a function over here. Oh, sorry, I lied. Don't do that. Do transform to JSON right over here. Take the object, feed in a result, run it. If I click on this now, the output is going to be fully, perfectly formatted JSON. That's going to include new lines, which will help with all of the BS that you're currently dealing with. And then now that you've basically had it, you forced it to output perfect format here, and then you're turning it back into a string over here, you can just feed this in as input into whatever module you want. Hopefully that helps. Samin says, love your main channel as well as this channel. I had a few questions regarding getting clients organically. Let's say I'm writing a cold email or talking to someone where I'm explaining to them the system. So in your experience, what's the hook that gives them the main reasoning to listen to you? Since I'm just starting out, I don't have any results, no credibility, but how do I get a person hooked into listening to me? The way that you get a person hooked into listening to you is you just show them that you care. You make it abundantly clear from their perspective that you wrote the email yourself. You did not pump them into a sequence. They're not in your newsletter. They're not in your flow. They're not a dollar sign. They're just a person. And you wanted to reach out to them because you, also being a person, had a question that you thought that they might be able to help you with. Or you had an opportunity and you just wanted to put the opportunity in front of them and see what they thought about it. That's how you bridge the gap. You don't actually need to be $1 million a year business. You don't actually need to have a bunch of credible social proof. Do these things help? Of course. But if you can just get the prospect in the mind that you are sending them an email from your phone as your Uber is picking you up or something, the likelihood that they actually open and respond to that email shoots way the hell up. We're talking an order of magnitude. There's no lever that is stronger to pull than the perceived personalization one. The, hey, I'm Nick and I'm leveling with you. I know this is out of left field, but I just, I've been following you for a really long time and I want you to know this. People love that sort of stuff. So press that button whenever you can. Aiden says, hey, Nick, I was wondering what kind of social proof I should use on cold emails during my sales call. When I don't have any previous experience, I'm looking for first ever client, meaning I haven't actually implemented this system to a business yet. I feel bad about straight up lying to leads. I built the system for this company and generated XXX in 2 weeks, even though it's not true. Well, yeah, you should feel bad about lying to leads, especially if it's not true. I saw this cool guy, Nick, generate this much money for a business using this exact system or something like that. Will that help me? It'll help me marginally. If they know who I am, it'll help a lot. But no, man, just, you don't need this as much. Trust me, this is important. But if you figure out the frame of hey, I'm just one person reaching out to another person, I want to put this in front of you. If you figure out that frame, and you can emulate that frame using my copywriting framework, which I've talked about a lot. Just look up Nick Saraev copywriting. There's tons of videos on it. You won't need to have this big dick social proof. You can actually get people on calls just to hear you out. Jean-Luc Piovani says, hey, Nick, do you have a video about the automation show 250 AI reach system for videographers, or is that inside school? AI reach system for videographers? No, I don't have an AI reach system for videographers. I don't think. Do I? Maybe I do. I don't know. Let's check it. Maker School, Classroom, Resource Library, Niche Packs, videographers? No, I don't have anyone for videographers yet. I probably will at some point, but no. Why can't we post your videos on TikTok for the affiliate program? I don't know. I just haven't found TikTok to be super high converting. So I don't really want to spend money on TikTok views. The issue of getting promoted by websites you're using in your video, plus your promotion from M&M, would make me think that you are again some kind of guru because you're just doing this video not actually to help me, but to make money with the cooperation then with your group. That's one of the things that differentiated you from the gurus on YouTube. I always seem completely legit, and you shortly mentioned MMWM, make money with making one of your videos. That's why I joined. My English skills still kind of suck, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Dude, your English skills are fantastic. No issues here at all. I do get what you're trying to say, and I appreciate that. One box gave me the confetti thing. Thank you very much, Pikachu. Abstoic says, hey, Nick, was curious on how you go about the automation process in terms of editing your short form content. How would one automate something like that? You can't really automate it to the point that I'm doing it because I have a whole team of incredible editors now that are just amazing and the best people on planet Earth. That one's to you, my man. You know who you are. But You can, like you can pre-edit your stuff with something like Opus Clip or one of the many alternatives, Goldcast, Veed, Clap. These are tools that like basically allow you to supply a longer video and then receive some sort of like short version of it. And they're not all perfect. In fact, none of them are perfect, but they work reasonably well, I would say, to like get you a first draft. And then, you don't automate it. You have a human being that like takes that and does something cool with it. 2249 CPA here, but in my knowledge, you can file for a DBA to give LC a separate business name. If you just wanted to have a different name on invoices, but still keep it under it, left click, you don't need to open up a separate LLC to have a different entity company name on invoices. Thank you, man. That makes sense. Yeah, not a CPA, so it's tough for me to be entirely accurate about this stuff all the time, but I appreciate you reaching out about that, Romeo. Thank you. Joel says this video is mind-blowing. Exactly what I need. You're changing lives here, man. Thank you. No problem. Not sure if it's because you're recording the response the second time, but your personality in this video is more funny and straightforward than ever. You told the harsh truth. Thanks. Which methods of intense money marketing are the best performing? What is intense money marketing? I don't know what intense money marketing is. Sorry, my bro. Intense money marketing. Intense money marketing. What is the most best performing intense money marketing? Market the money very intensely, I suppose. I'm not really sure. How do you make a lot of money? That's the question. Hey, bro, if I create an Apollo lead scraper cold email system, I was scraping the initial batch of leads, let's say it's 2K. After that, when it's all completed reaching out, how are they going to be getting more leads? And also, we can't change the location. The system is built specifically with only the Apollo scraper. That's a great question, Pritosh. Depends on your total addressable market size. Like if you're doing something like a B2B agency, like I usually do for total addressable market size reasons, none of this stuff really matters because you have like 50,000, I mean, there's like 2,000 new businesses that start every day. So you have an infinite number of leads. But if you have a much smaller market, you do need to be much more selective and you need to increase the perceived effort by the client on the work that you did in order to deliver them that outreach. So how are they going to get more leads? Yeah, that can be pretty tough. But instead of Apollo, you can look on Google Maps for businesses that fit within those criteria. You can do LinkedIn Sales Nav directly and then export that to something like Vane. That's pretty cool. You could do... That's a little more up-to-date than Apollo. You could do Appify, scraping social media platforms for people and businesses that are in your niche, and then look on their social media platform bios for websites, or look for a website field that then you can enrich using something like any mail finder. You can, let me think. You can find directories. So a lot of business types have websites that are essentially directories of businesses, which have links to their websites, which you can then enrich. You can also use just the Google SERP. So you can just pump in terms like AI Automation Agency Calgary, and there will be a bunch of AI automation agencies with the term Calgary somewhere on their website. Once you have that done, then you just continuously rotate that through every major municipality in the country. AI Automation Agency Vancouver, AI Automation Agency, I don't know, Montreal, Toronto, right? Like over and over and over and over again. Okay, anyway, hopefully that makes sense, but you have a lot of options. Void 2400. Ooh, I think you're using is that the Jinx profile pic tier thing? I don't know. Nick, if I'd be curious to know what your views are on relationships, dating strategy, what criteria you use in selecting a partner. I've noticed you intentionally avoid bringing up your personal life, which I can respect. You had the near slip up when talking about the animal shelter. Yeah. It'd be cool to know your perspective on these things since your insights are so great. What are my views on relationships, dating strategy, what criteria you use in selecting a partner? Well, what's really important for me is to have a partner that does not make their entire life revolve around me. I've had many of those in the past, and those don't usually work. So after a certain point in time, I think I want somebody that doesn't have to be around me 24/7, but that enjoys being around me 24/7. And so counterintuitively, whereas I think a lot of other men look for partners that are probably around them and want to be around, like that need to be with them 24/7, sort of like a dependency. I prefer the person that I'm with not to have to need to be around me, I suppose. And that was a hard won insight after many a partner, let's put it that way. So I'm much happier now because I have been lucky enough to find a relationship where the person that I'm with doesn't need to be around me 24/7. And so I can live my own life. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I do sincerely think that you should love being around the person that you are choosing to make your significant other. Just that my recommendation is just make sure that they have something in their life that isn't you, that they find important, that they're passionate about as well. Paul H says, when cold emailing, how should I find what to offer and say to the lead in the email, such as their pain points in their business that my agency will solve? For example, a real estate agent struggling with converting leads into clients by the agency. My agency does not know the real estate agent is struggling with that exact problem. So how should my agency find the lead's pain point and get their attention instead of the lead just ignoring us? Mind Blown Countdown says, that's why I reach out to thousands of people. We find common pain points and almost expect these people to be struggling with them. Eventually, some of them are bound to actually have them and want your services. Once you work with a couple of clients, you'll also be able to hear directly what their pain points are. Continue to adapt your cold email. Well said. I've no doubt in my mind, Mind Blown Countdowns has had some sort of sales success before, the way they answered that question. Paul, I would entirely encourage you to send this person a DM and buy them a coffee, sit down and just wring them out like a wet towel. Neon Messiah says, Nick, I've been practicing the Loom videos using an old UG touchpad. Can't get the damn hotkeys to work. Could you drop a video showing your hands doing the magic as you present? I really want to see those jazz hands, brother. I don't really entirely know what you mean. You mean like top down? That's interesting. Yeah, it's really not magic. I just like scrawl on it like a piece of paper. But maybe I will. That actually sounds pretty funny. We need shoes contact info for your videos are too sick, bro. Thank you. Joel says, first, thank you. I really like the daily upload, says Patrick. Thank you. Molodets, great content. Thank you. Template sales. Could you share more information about that? Do you have anything about that on school? What kind of templates you sell? How much you make out of that? Not very much money at all. Let's jump on right now. Let's see. I don't know. I have to, yeah, let's find out. Lifetime, $12,904. I've been doing this for quite a while. And then last 28 days, $1,985. That's how much money. Are these template sales? No, to be clear, these are free products. People just like choose to donate to me for whatever reason. So this one made me $483. In the last 30 days. That's kind of cool, right? But to be honest, if you guys are like paying me money, you're donating money to me, I would, don't donate your money to me. It's all good. I have more than enough money. I don't need you to donate them to me over Gumroad. I do appreciate it, obviously, but yeah, it looks like it's about $1,900 in the last month. Nick, it's me again. Sorry. How dare you ask a question on the daily updates channel that I tell people to ask me questions on? Can't believe you. What's the software stack you use for your business? Instantly for cold emails, OBS for my personal content stack, just thinking lead gen, ClickUp for my CRM and project management, Make.com and NADen now as automation glue. I use Make.com for my own stuff and NADen much more sparingly, to be honest, just because I'm better with Make.com. But, the market wants NADen, so I end up using NADen for client builds and YouTube videos and stuff. OpenAI. Yep, for all of my AI needs. Are they the best forever? No, we're used to it. Their API is pretty simple. I think that's it. Loom, probably. Yeah. Hey, Nick, can't wait to join Maker School. Just waiting for some money to come in next week. Then I'll be away. I also followed Liam O. Stephen Pope, finally got my first client, but always find myself come back to yours. Funds are limited, but I'll be ready to go soon. Find myself struggling to keep with your content as I'm also building AI agents and learning the thing. So now I've just made my own Nick GPT of your transcript so I can get your advice straight away. LOL. That's pretty funny. I got you guys. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Charlene. Hey, Nick, some feedback on the main channel strategy. As someone that has the time to watch maybe 1 hour max YouTube a day, I can say I definitively stopped watching the main purely because I couldn't keep up. Very wise move to space out content, although I may be the minority. I don't think you are. Here's my question. Are you intentionally editing all the small saliva or mouth noises you make during talk? And notice compared to your early videos, it's a trigger for me. When I saw you started removing it, I wondered if you were weird like me and get triggered, or you were thinking of weird people like me, very thoughtful. No, I don't, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your feedback, my man. And yeah, I know I have a pretty stinky ass loud mouth. Tusif says, I'm just a bit confused on what AI service to choose. I have a client onboarding system for marketing agencies and a hiring pipeline for recruitment agencies. I've even scraped a lot of the businesses in these niches. I'm just wondering if my service is even valuable to the business or not. I'm just uncertain if my service will get them results or not. I think you're thinking way too much. I would stop with all the thinking and get going to doing, because yeah, you've been confused about this for a while, Tusif. You've been talking and asking questions that are like this for, I think, the better part of the last 3 weeks, right? Maybe 4 weeks. How long's it been, man? Go through the comment history and see. But this is a problem you don't need to be struggling with. You could just answer that problem yourself. You could answer this question like in the next week just by putting these services in front of people, all right? So don't worry if your service is valuable to them, because that is an opinion that you are generating in your head, usually falsely. Instead, go ask a bunch of people if this is valuable to them and then have the market tell you. Harshit says, heart, thank you. Hi, Nick, what is AI automation? AI automation is reducing the cost of labor using AI and automation. It's reducing the cost of labor using modern large language models combined with drag and drop no-code tools like Make.com and NADen, probably in a nutshell. Oh, that's unwelcome to Maker School. You're not going to see this, are you, Patty? For 2 simultaneous streams, use 2 separate OBS instances, set up your scenes, and hit record on both. I know I've done this. The voice doesn't match the face, dude. Beep boop. I used to believe the same lies everyone else did. Work harder, save. Oh yeah, this person is pitching the Nicksaurus books. It's kind of funny. Nicksaurus. They're spamming a channel on a dude called Nick. Okay, we got the Nicksaurus books. Just gonna cancel all those out. Does posting every day mean less value in your content? It's tough for me to say. I don't think so. But I guess you tell me. Waleed says, hey, Nick, if I join Maker School, how many hours do I need daily in order to complete the daily task to complete the 90-day roadmap? If I put in more hours, can I complete it earlier than 90 days? About 2 hours a day, I would say. No, I don't think if you put in more hours, you can complete it earlier than 90 days. I wouldn't recommend that you do. I recommend that you go day by day. Anas says, Nick, how you host end-to-end for your automations? I want to self-host, but I'm out of budget. And I watched your video about self-hosting for free, but it's complicated when I tried to. Can you clarify or help me with that? I don't actually recommend you do this. I recommend you cloud host. Cloud hosting is the best. It costs more. The second that you deliver value for even one client, which cloud hosting allows you to do much faster, you basically immediately pay all of the issues there back. You basically immediately pay down all of the added cost because cloud hosting just allows you to get up and running so fast. You never have to worry about any Google auth. The vast majority of it's taken care of for you. No need for cloud console stuff for a bunch of the very common issues where you have to set up a cloud console account. And yeah, man, I would just recommend cloud hosting. Try source record. Thank you. I tried source record once and then it just broke, but maybe I need to revisit that. Thanks, Drew. Hey, Nick, can you break down how you would actually go about closing a deal? Talk about some of the gray area for somebody who's never sold an automation before, as they can expand their knowledge and make while trying to land clients and grow as you learn. Also, how would you implement the system once you made a practice template on your own make account instead of the customer? Thank you. I would actually not make a practice thing in my own make account instead of the customer. I do it all in theirs. So much easier, and then you don't have to do any duplication, nor do you have to deal with any reconnection. How do you actually go about closing the deal? I feel like I've talked about this before, but I have I'm just trying to think, do I have a resource that I can pin you to? Automation agency sales skeletons right over here. So I don't actually do the closing on the call. I like to take a step back, double check that the project scope isn't going to be a real pain in the ass, and then send them a proposal. You do close fewer deals this way, but the deals you do close tend to be higher quality, and then the prospect appreciates not feeling pressure into making a decision. So when somebody asks me for price, I say stuff like, it's hard for me to price this exactly since, I want to scope it first. That's what I'm going to do right after the call. But it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,855.69. plus or minus 5 cents. What I'll do here is I'll check out each of these platforms in detail, do a couple of test integrations, and build out a project scope for you. Once I have that, I'll write your proposal and send it out ASAP. You usually have it out within an hour or two. How's that sound? Then I send it to them within 20 minutes. They like that a lot. First tier, thank you. Let's go. Dude, let's go. Hey, Nick, love your videos. They're amazing. Learn a lot just watching your videos, and I'm working my way to your level for sure. Just wanted to ask you to release a new video on your main channel about building CRMs, something I personally have been struggling with, and I don't know if I'm overcomplicating things. Please also re-explain the retainer. Yeah, for sure. Retainers are just ways to align the incentives between you and the client. Typically, retainers are alternatives to getting paid on an hourly basis. So instead of you working a variable number of hours per month, which is difficult for both you and for the client because you don't know how much you're going to work, the client doesn't know how many hours it's going to take to finish a project, and then sometimes you go over and sometimes you go under, and it's difficult to extrapolate and project stably. What you do is you just fix that, and then you end up getting a smaller hourly rate. In exchange, the client prepays and they bundle the hours, and then they buy let's say 50 hours or something instead of variable 40 to 60. So that's how it aligns incentives. Retainers can also be fixed price retainers without hourly, like I do. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. If you want a very simple breakdown of this, check out Nick's Saraev pricing. I cover 8 pricing methods, and a couple of them are monthly recurring. Paperspeak says, hey, Nick, can I start a cold email campaign and instantly with only 5 mailboxes? How many emails can I send for each one? You can start this for sure. You can start this with 1 mailbox if you want. But on average, it's between 20 to 30 emails per mailbox. So maybe just do 25. 25 times 50 means 125 per day. And if you have a 2-step sequence, that's 125 divided by 2, which is 62.5. So you're going to be able to send about 62 emails per day per step on a 2-step sequence. Great note about conference. I completely agree. Thank you, Bim Voice. I like to call it a way of procrastinating. It's good to meet people in real life once in a while that tell me about it. I did actually meet up with one of my old college friends today, which is awesome. And I met up with somebody from Make Money with Make in Vancouver, which is great. Hey, Nick, appreciate the content education a lot. Can't wait to join Maker School as soon as I fix my financials. Someone who worked as a wedding videographer for years, is it a good niche to focus on general wedding vendors, wedding planners specifically? My thought is I should use the experience of working in that business to make automation solutions for that niche. What advice do you have in general? And what do you think are some of the highest leverage automations I could sell? Thanks, you're an awesome human being for helping all of us get started. No problem, Chris Rivero. Listen, I think it's a good idea in general to work with niches that you have experience in, because it will give you some sort of unique edge, as well as you typically have social proof that is more in line with the needs of that niche. But I don't think you should necessarily do so, and I don't think you should be afraid to try other things too. So is it a good idea to focus on general wedding vendors? Yes, I would actually just do general wedding probably. And then side by side on that, I would also focus on 2 other niches. So I would do 3, not just 1, because 3 niches is not 3 times the work. 3 niches is 1.5 times the work for 3x the possible return, and risk and diversification is the only free lunch in anything because it reduces risk. In terms of what I would sell to them, it depends. Wedding planners, proposal generation. I mean, back when I was doing when I was working specifically with people in the wedding industry, and I was basically a wedding vendor. I was doing videography, corporate videography, corporate videography, wedding videography, corporate photography, and then wedding photography. I had proposal generator forms that were very valuable because they're basically just like you take somebody's order and then you quote them immediately, and then it like automates the process of following up and stuff like that. So I might give that a go. Why does everyone comments start with hey Tech to Josh? I don't know how to sell these agents to a client. Like, how do they access our agents? I don't actually do the AI agent stuff, so I do not have the best way of going about this. Typically, though, if you're using N8N to build an agent, when you do the building, if I just go here and then I type agent, what you'll see is you get a trigger called when chat message is received. What you can do is you can make the chat publicly available, and then you can actually open that up. Sorry, I need to be in active production URL. My bad. But like, I actually need to click active, I believe. And I can't do this because I need to fix a bunch of issues. Anyway, the point is you get a URL. The URL ends up being your chat. You can also embed this, and then that's kind of how the client accesses it. Mubanga says, the consistency is crazy. Any advice in scaling an agency when it comes to offer building and packaging? Yeah, main advice for offer building is just throw a lot of offers at the wall, man. Throw as many offers as you can. Everybody here thinks like it's a sniper rifle approach. It's really well thought out. I'll be real. I've been a massive action kind of guy since the day that I started doing business. And I can definitively tell you that my way is just better in the modern economy, because the reality is you don't know what you don't know. And we all have so many preconceptions and ideas on how the market should work that the market rarely conforms to. Better to see what the market thinks for itself. And the best way to do so, you just take as wide a sample of the market as you can by getting 10 offers, testing all of them side by side, and then seeing which ones resonate the most. A similar concept is in investing, where you just invest in a diversified portfolio. So basically that's what I'm doing here. Yeah, offer building and packaging, just build and package a lot of offers. Nigel says, hey Nick, can you do a video on data leakage and security of client IP or client lead data? How to protect my client myself from potential hacks or data stealing? I feel unsafe using the OpenAI API, considering they train our AI, they're AI using our information. I know they have an opt-in option for training, but I don't trust it. Hey Nigel, I'll be real. I'm not the guy to talk to about data security, my man. I care very little about that stuff. And I think that a lot of like engineering types use this as justification that everything needs to be perfect and 100% before they build a project. I usually actually recommend that you like worry less about this stuff than you think. I mean, if you have a problem with OpenAI using their model data to train their AI, you definitely have a problem with the way that I do business, which is I just get the client to send me their username and password, sometimes through plain text through a Google Meet chat. And then, I sign into their account on my end with some password manager. So I'm really not the guy to talk to about security. I'm probably one of the least secure people here, to be real. Do I think that this stuff is important? For sure. Just keep in mind that I target a small to mid-sized business audience, not an enterprise audience. If I was targeting an enterprise audience who had some sort of, requirement to maintain data anonymity or comply by some HIPAA or some financial regulation, things would be different. But yeah, my SMB stuff is pretty small. Hello, Mr. Saraev. Mr. Saraev, bucking the trend. I hope all is cool. And thanks for your time and diligence. Question, Upwork looms, or more specifically saturation regarding Maker School. There's some comment in the school community than more directly to me about the approach we're all taking. I've known myself that Upwork response have dropped off. I'm not throwing extra coin on bids. You're not bidding? Ah, I see. But once we have close to 3K lads and lasses all hitting Upwork with the same approach from your community alone, when does one consider adjusting the strategy versus the tactic? I know you've spoken about this. What do you suggest as an approach here? Personally, I'm all in on cold email and community, but I know there are others here that would like some sage words. Cheers. I'm more than happy to help here, man. But dude, I gotta be honest. If you're not throwing bids or boosts on Upwork, keep in mind that you may be, what's the term? Confounding the fact that just more people are getting on Upwork in general, aka things are getting more difficult on Upwork in general, with more people boosting in general, with the notion that, AI and automation itself is getting saturated. Like, it is more difficult on Upwork in general to win jobs unless you boost. It's not just an AI and automation. It's just like they just launched a new feature, and so everybody's starting to flood the feature. And then the people that aren't boosting are being left behind, right? Anyway, once we have close to 3K lads and lasses in Maker School heading Upwork with the same approach from your community alone, when does one consider adjusting the strategy versus the tactic? I don't really think that we've even made a meaningful dent, really. Like, listen, I'm not going to be irresponsible here. Of course, when you have more people in a niche performing a similar tactic, the tactic loses its effectiveness. I've never sold tactics. I feel like I've sold accountability, and I've sold like high-level strategy that you can then, use to create your own tactics. But I'm not like selling a tactic here, because tactics always eventually go out of date. That's why strategy is more important than tactic, by the way. Tactics are very extemporaneous things. They're very temporary things, where strategy are the things that inform the tactics and let you create new ones when the market eventually tells you no. Keep in mind that of the 3,000 lads and lasses, probably only about 10% of these are actually hitting Upwork realistically. So it's not 3,000 competitors, it's like 300. And most of them aren't sending 10 Upwork applications a day. They're sending between 3 to 5. So I don't think we're even close to having to worry about any sort of saturation. I think if you were to actually map the frequency of wins post in Maker School that mention the term Upwork, you would just see that spike over time. Even normalized per capita, like the number of Maker School members expresses a percentage of the number of wins expresses a percentage of the number of Maker School members, plus the size of the wins. So I do get it for sure, but you got to bid for one, man. Like, don't confuse the reduced effectiveness of not boosting with just AI and automation itself getting more saturated. So hopefully that helps, Chris. I do appreciate this for sure. I know a lot of people have questions and are worried about that, but keep in mind that this applies to literally like every business model that anybody ever tries to start. I think you're very, very early. We haven't even seen like the results of like the agent boom in business interest, because we haven't even seen really good agents yet. Madison says, at this time I need some motivation because outreach is definitely not easy. Any tips? Well, I mean, anything in life, anything worth living is not going to be easy. So I know you need some, I know you're saying that you need some motivation, Madison, but I would advise you to stop using the term need. In reality, you want motivation. You don't need motivation. You want motivation. Yeah. I don't like the term need or have or whatever. Just be clear here. I think the language is very important. You want motivation because outreach is definitely not easy. No, you want motivation because you aren't capable at this moment of dealing with the demands of outreach. And then from there, you can get deeper and you can identify what specific demand of outreach is not easy for you. What is it that you aren't capable of meeting? Is it the mundane nature of it? Is it the recording a video every, 10 minutes and then having to rewatch it and seeing your flaws? Is it the cost, right? Like narrow down what exactly is it that you are not capable of meeting at this moment. And it'll make this whole thing a lot less of a big deal, I'd say. Viraj says, hey, Nick, love your stuff. Was wondering what your take on this on the timeline of the window of the opportunity for the AI automation business model. I see it saturating in early 2026. Would appreciate your thoughts. Well, I mean, it depends on your term for, your idea of saturation and all. As somebody that's in the business model, lives it every day, it's significantly more effective now than it was back when I was starting my automation agency. So that was a couple of years ago. I see it sort of like peak oil. This is what peak oil looks like. If the y-axis is like the total volume of oil barrels and then the x-axis is time, I think we're probably like over here. So, I mean, if you call this saturation, you can call this saturation if you want, but keep in mind that like at saturation, it's actually more effective than where it is right now. I don't know. It's tough for me to say. Sometime in the next 3 years, probably. What do you use to produce your TikTok videos? I did very well. I don't actually have any TikTok videos. The guy that's posting on TikTok is just stealing them from my Instagram. But the system I use to produce my Instagram videos is I have a brilliant editor combined with teleprompted videos that I post, I run through. SLM10 New York says, I'm 15 years old and I'm interested in AI, so I want to join. That's why I'm saving money for your course. Thanks for the free value in your channel. Thank you, my man. Broxton says, can you do a step-by-step for somebody looking to do their first cold email campaign at a small scale? Just how would you do lead gen, specifically with scraping Apollo, how you'd structure a campaign on Instantly? Thanks for the value, Broxton. I really appreciate you asking me this question. But the really cool thing is I actually already recorded a video that does all of this called Watch Me Start and Sell an AI Service in 10 Hours, where I actually go through the process of finding a need. I actually pick niches. Then I find the needs for the niches by going through Reddit threads. Then I take those and convert those into offers. Then I take those offers, I put them into Instantly, I scrape, and then I upload lead lists to Instantly. And then I actually go and I reach out to people. And I think I get like 10 interested people that want to book calls with me in like, I don't know, an hour and a half of work. Hussein says, hey, Nick, love your content. Appreciate all the free value you've given. My question, how did you learn copy? In one of your videos, it's like 5 opportunities to set 150 emails. And I was like, damn, that must be pretty good copy. Have a nice day, my brother. I've read a lot of copywriting books for sure. I've also just been writing basically every day for the last 25 years. So yeah, it's tough for me to say, man. I wish I had like a simple straight line path for you. I've taken like tons of copywriting courses and spent a lot of time copywriting. Actually, probably the best and highest ROI thing that I've ever done is I probably just done a lot of door-to-door. When you do door-to-door, you do just inherently and naturally figure out like what it is that people find interesting. What it is that people find interesting, as I mentioned earlier to one of the previous questions, was just like personalizing everything and making it seem as obvious as possible to the person that is watching or reading or in front of you that like, this isn't me just spamming you. I'm actually here. I'm like physically here because I like you and I know your business and I care about it a lot and that sort of stuff. Viewer says, hey, Nick, I'm really curious. Where do you spend all your money? I see you working hard, posting videos every day and providing value. You never share what your day looks like or whether you enjoy spending money on anything in specific. I'm asking because the internet is full of fake influencers, but I feel like you create the most authentic and natural content. Thank you. I don't really spend my money, to be honest. I'm not super attracted to material stuff, which is probably, yeah. I was just talking to Michelle, somebody from Make Money with Make earlier about this. And, I'm not a very material person. He was like, so like, where's the Porsche or where's the Lamborghini or something? And I know he was just screwing around because he's like me. But yeah, the consensus there was I just don't really care about stuff like that. Then he's like, how's your Subaru doing? And I'm like, the Subaru is good. Just got it serviced at a very affordable and appropriate rate. So I don't really spend my money on much, to be honest. I'm going to start spending my money on health a little bit more for sure. Yeah, I'm going to start spending it on health. I have now purchased like nicer clothing, but keep in mind the nicer clothing is just, I used to buy like $5 to $10 V-neck t-shirts from H&M that would inevitably, I'd wash them once and I'd have to throw it away and I'd buy another one. So I bought Lululemon clothing, for instance, and now they fit well and I don't throw them out every time. But yeah, I don't really spend my money on stuff. Thank you for the question though. All right. Ooh, boy, we have a lot more questions. Jesus, I thought we were getting pretty close. Well, that sucks. Let's start from the top down. Haha, the conference comment got me. How do I set up the webhook on the Upwork Scraper in Maker School? How do you set up the webhook? There is no webhook on the Upwork Scraper in Maker School. I'm not really sure what you're referring to. You're referring to the HTTP request? How do you set up the HTTP request? You got to call the automation page. That said, there have been some issues now, so I don't actually recommend using my own scraper, unfortunately. I use Upwork. Upwork Extractor is good. Upwork Scraper without stale job posts is good. Upwork Job Scraper is okay. Upwork Jobs Scraper, this one here, is pretty good. This one's the most popular, although it's rated poorly now. So give those a try instead. Those are a lot more reliable. Cloud Genius is Nick's getting canceled. Hey, Nick, as a Canadian resident, if you're getting paid in USD from America, how do you still charge them your Canadian province's sales tax? No. This is power for some of us trying to grow our AA agencies. Thank you. As someone who's genuinely obsessed with starting a dental marketing agency for dental practices, but working with low budget, would you recommend starting with cold email, cold calling, or a combination of both? I would just do cold emailing, honestly. Yeah, like cold calling, most of the time you're just going to get a decision maker or secretary or something. Listen, you can try cold calling if you want. I think cold emailing is just so much higher leverage. And then the benefit with cold emailing is if you're at a high enough point of leverage, then when you get positive responses, then you can call and then you could say something like, hey, Patrick actually just told me to ring in, or hey, actually, I just emailed Patrick, or hey, Patrick actually just emailed me back a moment ago. Do you mind just like ringing him in and letting him know that I'm giving him a call? The benefit to this has been the gatekeeper will ask Patrick, the guy in the back end office, the owner of the business or the business manager. Patrick will be like, oh, is that the guy who just emailed me? Yeah, sure, whatever. And then he'll go through. So now you're not dealing with one of the big time sinks, which is just gatekeeping. Appreciate these videos. My question is on Google authorization within Make. Do you do that for your clients every week? Could you just show them how to do it? Also, is there a way to automate that? Thanks. No, I don't show them how to do it. And I don't actually have to do Google authorization within Make. The reason why you probably have to do this is because you're using Gmail as opposed to a business email or a workspace email. So when you use a business email, you don't have to reauthorize anywhere near as often. I think the last time I reauthorized my own email was like 7 months ago or something like that. So you don't have to do it every week. Allied Finance says, I hope you don't mind the message. I'm trying to improve my own editing skills. Was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing what app or tools you use for Instagram video edits. Really appreciate any tips you're willing to share. Thanks so much. Keep up the amazing work. You can actually get all of the assets for our videos in our WAP community. If you guys are interested in this, then try clipping my content. I will pay you to clip it. So Nick Saraev standard right over here. One of these links here is a link to just a bunch of assets. So just go down there, check out one of these links, and then yeah, you guys will just get a ton of like editing assets for Premiere Pro, DaVinci, Pro Resolve, a bunch of other things. Elias says, I started my automation agency. It's hard to get clients. I know some people in the industry that told me the voice agents are the real gold right now, and that automation is very difficult. So what do you think? I think they're full of shit. I don't think that voice agents are the real gold right now at all. I think voice agents I think it's way too early to be selling voice agents. They're not good enough, to be honest, for most business cases. They're good for like some specific business cases, but I don't think that's the real gold. Who knows? Maybe I'm full of shit, and I know some people are selling voice agents right now, and they may be shitting on me, but yeah, I wouldn't, man. I definitely wouldn't. Leonardo Gregorio. For those of you that don't know, Leo is a dear friend of mine. He's also probably the most strategic AI automation agency content creator I've seen. He doesn't just talk about automation agency stuff, by the way. He is just brilliant with it though. He's really, really good. Sniper rifle stuff. His first few posts all had like massive outliers. And his production style is really unique too. So friend of mine, definitely go check him out if you guys haven't already. He asks a great question. I have a list of 6K leads for my lead magnets placed over some of my videos, but embarrassingly enough, I've never actually sent a single email. My SaaS is slowly making me more than my agency, and I'm just now having more time to focus on my channel and school community. I feel like I've leveled up all the attributes related to building and leveraging, also some stats and design, but email marketing is 0. Maybe overthink, but do I just send all leads to MailerLite, start a campaign chain, like welcome, 1, 2, 3? How do I not get my emails to be sent to spam or promotion? Should I make it into a newsletter? Yeah, no, I feel you. I don't think you're overthinking it. I would go through Kit though. Kit's the main one nowadays. That's what everybody's using. So just head over to kit.com. I wouldn't use MailerLite or anything. I'd use Kit. I set up a sequence and just some general rules of thumb. Try and minimize the number of links in your first email. Try and get as many people as possible to like reply to your email. Say something like, hey, I'm a real person. If you want to send me an email, I'll respond. Maybe you won't actually respond to every single one, but the more emails that you get, the more basically positive sender reputation you get within Google and Outlook. That makes the open rate of your emails a lot bigger. And open rate is like actually a pretty important thing in newsletter campaigns. I don't find it anywhere near as important in outbound campaigns, but yeah, like on inbound campaigns, like open rate's it's a main thing. If you can go from like a 40% to like a 60% open rate, you basically like make 1.5 times as much money, right? And it's something you can actually meaningfully optimize. So yeah, for sure. Welcome email, value 1, value 2, talk about the product. A good guy to follow for stuff like this is Jay Klaus. He has an awesome email campaign, and I just really like the way that he pitches things. So I'm the founder of Creator Science through his newsletter, podcast, membership, and YouTube channel. Creator Science helps you become a smarter creator. His welcome email is literally like, hey man, it's just me and my wife doing this business. We made $700,000 last year, and here's how we do it. Really, really cool. So I would just take a transparent and yeah, just very like straight up approach like him. Okay. And I'm right there with you, man. I'm not really fully utilizing my stuff either. Aldoro says, you're the only channel I watch every day. Love the daily posts. Thank you. Okay, we are working our way down. Not a question, but Nick's videos while the gym keeps me locked in. Thank you. We see a lot of value from Nick, but I'm loving this Nick peeling back a layer and revealing a little more of his personality and humor. You seem like a witty guy. Get off my lawn made me chuckle. Get off my lawn. Setup tour, Nick, from tech to jazz. Dude, my setup is my MacBook and a little microphone that I have. That's probably about to run out of battery, which is why I'm speeding through these. Shit, I don't even know what it's called. A Hollyland Lark M2. That's where I'm at. I hope you don't mind the message. Right. Sorry, I already answered that. Love your content's helped me a lot. I have a question. When you first started creating automations, how do you stay organized layer automation projects running your agency solo? Thanks for reading. Dude, it's a great question. I was not organized at all. I was probably like the least organized person, and I probably still am on planet Earth. I just operated entirely using my Gmail as my to-do list and my project manager. I use labels. I was not organized. But I think this shares something that is important. And that's that I cared more about just getting up and running than I did about making it perfect. And my disorganization was kind of my strength there because I just went to market really fast and I started selling. Later, I had enough money that I could actually like pump the brakes a bit and be like, okay, I made, $20,000 last month. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, spend a week just organizing everything. And it's much easier to spend that time organizing when you're in a position of strength. Okay, you have $20,000 or something in revenue that you can sit on than weakness, which is where you have no money. What are your thoughts on coding AI automations as opposed to tools like, oh yeah, sorry, I think I answered this one, X-Bishop, so I'll cut it. Appreciate you though, my bro. Okay, that was in yesterday's video if you guys want an answer there. Hey Nick, love your videos. How can I find clients? Like tell me 3 or 4 effective ways. I'm also selling AI systems to real estate businesses with a UI built in like Bolt or Lovable. So how much should I charge for this in these AI systems? There's many sub-automations like 5 or more that works as a mini SaaS. Well, when you brand something as a mini SaaS as opposed to just like a back-end automation, it becomes a lot more quantifiable and tangible and touchable and feelable by a client. So that's really good. And you can increase the perceived value of your content quite a bit, of the stuff you're selling quite a bit. So how much should I charge for this? I don't know. It really does depend on the problem that you're solving. If you want a concrete answer on all of the different ways you could do this, check out Nick Saraev pricing. I know I've mentioned this video like 4 times today, but it really does answer all of people's pricing questions. I cover a unique pricing method there called the value-based pricing, which would assist with you doing this. And then 3 or more effective ways. Upwork is probably the most simple, straight line path for beginners that have no sales experience or AI automation experience. Cold email is probably the most scalable and low cost per meeting, though it does take a little bit of time and energy to get up and running, and you typically have to be slightly better at sales. You can do LinkedIn DMs, X DMs, Instagram DMs. You can record Loom videos, send them out that way. You can do community posts. That's what a lot of people are doing. Yeah, I'd say those are the 3 or 4 effective ways that I'd probably do. Okay, and then B3 Anna 3 says, "Hey Nick, just started your Make course. I'm fresh out of high school, 18, have tons of time currently, pretty much just watch your videos religiously all day from both your channels ever since I found you. Anyway, I want to use OpenAI tokens, but they don't seem to be free. I'm getting quite frustrated because I'm realizing how you need at least a little initial capital to start an agency. And I know you talked about the time-consuming methods, cold DMs and emails, but realistically, wouldn't it be harder to get clients to even bootstrap from there? It would be, yeah. Also, I don't have anything to put on my business card. Do you have any ideas on what I should do? Should I work part-time? Also, I took your advice on avoiding short-term content like the plague, and it's been really great. I found myself way less distracted than I used to be. I really appreciate the content you put out, and you're very inspiring. Sorry for like a billion questions. No problem. Let us enumerate the questions here. So, the first one is, wouldn't it be harder to get clients to even bootstrap from there? It's much harder to get clients when you have no available capital, B3 and a 3, because you don't have anything to trade or win back some time with. So you do have to spend more time up front. I love the idea of bootstrapping because I make something from nothing, essentially. And I think that's just so incredibly powerful when you do it right. I'm not on my hands and knees begging for investor money. I have the capability, freedom, agency, and autonomy to do whatever the hell I want with my own money. And when it's your own money, you tend to spend it a lot more intelligently than when it's somebody else's money, despite how much easier it is to move forward with somebody else's money. So it's much harder to get clients if you have no money. Now, if you have $100, it's a lot easier to get clients than if you have $0. If you have $1,000, it's only marginally easier to get clients than if you have $100. So the easiness kind of shoots up, like it's a lot easier, a lot quicker with a little bit of money. And then if you have like a ton of money, it doesn't actually get that much easier. I don't have anything to put on my business card. Do you have any ideas of what I should do? When you say business card, do you mean like your portfolio? If you mean a physical business card, wouldn't even worry about a business card. I don't have a business card for Left Click, never did, never will. Definitely don't have one for this other business. The only real purpose of a business card is when you're going door to door or you're going to trade shows or conferences or something. If you're talking portfolio, I think you should take my make.com blueprints, probably start with Make, it's easiest, and then just rebuild or make some slight tweaks to them. And then boom, now you have 3 systems that you have just taken from me essentially, but you've added, I don't know, your own flair, change the prompt, change the email copy, add some cute little flowery. I'm assuming you're a girl here and I'm just sort of screwing with you here, but just add like some cute little thing there. It makes it look a little bit different than mine. Basically, the point I'm making is convince yourself that it's yours now, okay? It's B3 Anna 3s and not Nick's. And then once you have that, you can take some screenshots of those, and now you have portfolio pieces for Upwork. Should I work part-time? I do love the idea of working part-time for somebody that's at the start line of their automation business, because now you have some sort of disposable income and capital. And you keep in mind, now you don't have 8 hours a day or whatever, 16 hours a day to build your business. You have less time. But that's not actually negative. When you introduce a constraint into your life, like let's say less time or fewer hours because you have some job or whatever, you actually grow more efficient with the time that you have left, assuming that you are the sort of person who is willing to complete the same output in the shorter amount of time. So I know I'm making some assumptions there, but constraints are how you grow. If you have a major constraint and you still want to make it happen, you're going to find a way to make it happen. That usually involves you working a little bit more effectively. All right. So if you can get a part-time job, maybe you'll get yourself that first $100 in like a week or something. And then you can take the $100 the next week, spend it on outreach methods, and then you can 5x the speed at which you get your first 3 automation clients. Okay, I think we got 1 or 2 more. Daily dose of knowledge, thank you. Okay, this one here from Yusuf says, I wanted to ask about service delivery. When we're setting up an automation flow, who pays for the specific subscriptions? Most of the time, the client, okay? Most of the time, the client pays for Apollo, Apify, OpenAI, and N8N. The reason why is you get to use your affiliate links. If I'm the one paying for this, which you're not, so I'm going to move on. If the client's the one paying, how do the specifics work? For example, client buys N8N. How would they trust me to handle it with their payment details? You don't actually take their payment details and sign up to the platform. They put their payment details into the platform and sign up, but it's not like you have access to their credit card or something. It's not a big deal. In practice, there's very little stuff that they get. And, if the client ever did get billed more because you upgraded the plan without letting them know or something, they could just get their money back, right? Hey, XYZ person accessed my account, check the logs. I didn't actually sign up to this, problem solved. So the risk is not as high as you're probably thinking. And in practice, you're not going to do this anyway, so it's no big deal. And nobody does this anyway, to be honest. So as a beginner, you'd not be charging clients. Seems like a big chunk of money to give, especially monthly. It probably seems like a big chunk of money from you, but I don't think you're estimating the size of these business problems appropriately. In reality, the size of these business problems is they're a lot bigger. They have multiples on the N8N subscription. If N8N costs $30 a month or something, you might be solving a $3,000 a month problem for the client. So the subscription cost is 1% of the total thing, right? Not actually that big of a deal. Okay, let me really quickly scroll through here and see if there's anything else that maybe I did not answer of my giant stack of questions. No, looks good. All right, now it is a little bit late, and if I want to publish this, I unfortunately do have to jump off here. So let me just do brand stats, and then I'm not actually going to do my make.com stuff. Unfortunate, but we just got to roll with the punches, right? I just got so into it that I didn't even realize that like 45 minutes had gone by, and then I was like, if I'm 45 minutes in, I might as well go all the way. Cool, cool, cool. What is my Instagram at? Instagram, as of right now, is 182,355. Then what is my daily updates channel at? Nope, that's Leonardo's. Just put Leonardo's sub count as my own. Thanks, Leo. Thanks for the subs, bro. 5991. Okay, that's that. Yeah, the only thing I was going to do today with make.com was I was just going to make a simple prompt engineering, do a little bit of prompt engineering and essentially set up a prompt that forwarded Maker School questions to a specific email address and then see if I could use some sort of RAG to answer a lot of the questions. Because I am finding that I'm getting a lot of basically the exact same questions over and over and over again about Maker School and Make Money with Make. Namely, hey, can I get a discount? The answer to that is pretty much no all the time. Just to be clear. It's just not feasible for me to give people discounts because school has no built-in way to do it. So either I give it to you completely for free or I give you a discount. I don't want to give it to you completely for free because that doesn't really have any lock-in on your end and I obviously don't make money. I also don't want you to tell people, hey, if you just send Nick an email, I'll give it to you for free. So I was just going to write it like a template and then have like a flow that just automatically responded to those emails. Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for reaching out. Do X, Y, and Z. I can't give refunds for this reason, but I really appreciate you. If you have any other questions that are related to the refund, just going to let you know right off the bat, I'm not going to do it. But if you have anything else that I can help with, then let me know. And then maybe I could actually answer those. Yeah, that was the only thing I was going to build today. But yeah, aside from that, that's that. All right. Good day at the conference. Saw a really cool talk. Guy from Proof, which is a startup that deals with authentication and security. Also just got to hang out with a couple of friends, which is fun. So I'm gonna leave it there. Hopefully you guys appreciate the 80-minute long video. If you guys are still here at the end of this, what the hell are you doing with your lives? I'm just screwing around. I really appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow and in Maker School as well. Catch ya.